Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. Today I am restocking. Look at what I've got going on down here. Quite a lot of candles here. Also quite a lot of candles in the utility room slash candle studio back there. I need to trim all the wicks. I need to label everything because I did not label before I poured this time. I just took my moment. I already had the candle jars wicked and I thought I'm going to get these poured while I can. And now I'm really glad that I did because I was a little bit messy. I actually decided to pour them within the boxes, hoping that they might like cure a little bit more evenly. They might like cool more evenly. I still needed to heat gun the tops. It is what it is. You know, you've got your issues with each individual wax. This one, I always have to heat gun the tops. I was doing a second pour and then I discovered that sometimes those second layers that I was pouring on top were separating, not ideal. And I'm making candles thinking they're going to be burned. Not all candles get burned straight away. So there's candles that I have made for friends, and if I've trimmed the wick to like the level that you would want to actually be burning a candle at, if they don't burn that candle, if you leave that candle, say, on a windowsill for a year, the natural wax can expand, and then the amount of wick that you've got left is so tiny. So, you know, over the time that we've been doing this, I have tried to consider all of the variety of ways in which people use their candles, but I wasn't really thinking of people not burning them. So, yeah, I need to make sure they are poured in one because a double pour sometimes separates over time, and also that I'm leaving enough wick to account for wax expanding over time. So yeah, I think I'm going to put something out in the orders moving forward that you do need to trim your wick to like whatever it is, a 1/4 inch. You can eyeball it, but if I'm leaving like an inch of wick, this sounds so rude. If I'm leaving like an inch of wick at the top of a candle, I don't want people burning it with an enormous wick, but I also don't want to trim it, you know? These are the problems. Anyway, the reason that I was happy to have not labelled them was because I kept accidentally dribbling wax around the edges and around the sides and stuff. So it's going to be much easier to clean that up before I label rather than have to clean up the labels. But I've got quite a few scents to restock. I've been waiting for my wicks to come back into stock. I can't believe I allowed them to run out. Of all the things, I thought I had absolutely loads of wicks. I did, but I made absolutely loads of candles. Like, look at this. I'm glad I can clean that up before I label it. I actually got out all of the box labels that I needed. I think I'm just missing one. It might be croissant. That's finally restocking. Also, I overcorrect with that word. Has anybody else got, or like, I feel that's another one and I can't remember what it was. There were certain words that I had it in my mind that I was mispronouncing them. And so I corrected myself, but it was never a mispronunciation. What is the word? Licorice. Right. Is it licorice or is it licorice? I think it's licorice. And I got it in my head that it was licorice. And then I started calling it licorice. It's a bit like I say antibiotic. I can't say it. Antibiotics. I don't know. There are certain words that I got in my head about, and now I say them wrong by forcing myself to say them what I thought was right. I don't know. I can't even remember the word I was trying to say in the first place now. Croissant. Croissant, but croissant. Is that like an Americanism? Croissant. Would you say croissant? I feel like it should be a croissant. I'm overthinking this. All that is to say, I need to print some of those labels. I'm actually not sure whether or not I've got the 6x4s available and in stock, but we'll see. I'm also waiting for some boxes to arrive. I'm not sure that I will have enough boxes to box all the candles that I've made. It's mostly restocks of core, and I think this will be the last restock of our autumn stuff. It's tricky because there are some scents that have been so popular that I don't want to stop selling them just because we're selling Christmas, but I also don't want to, I'll put them back in that box to keep them together. I also don't want to have to keep, like, it's a muddled time. I think what I might do now is, if there's like major call for a restock of something that's gone, we can bring it back. But I think I'm just going to let things sit on the website until they sell, rather than take them off just because it's no longer autumn Halloween. And then same as previous years, whatever we've got like massive overstock of can go in the mystery boxes on Boxing Day. We have had a few people, oh, I've already trimmed those ones. What? I'm ahead of myself. We have had a few people request Cherry Falls be made permanent. I'm really considering that one because me and Karen both absolutely love it. Even as long as we've now been, because sometimes when something's really popular and you make lots of it, you kind of get bored of it. And I haven't felt that way at all with Cherry Falls. Those ones are already trimmed. We both really, really like it. Way back when we were first developing our initial scents, Karen really wanted to do a cherry scent, and we just couldn't find one that didn't smell like really synthetic. You know, like almondy. Every cherry smell is... My mum bought something for my dad the other day. She got I think it was a cherry schnapps. And she said it arrived, because she ordered it online, it arrived and it had smashed. And she said the smell is awful, like not appealing at all. She said you won't believe what it smelled like. And I said, I bet it smells like a cherry bakewell, like an almond smell. And she was like, yeah, why would it smell? I'm like, every cherry smell, every cherry flavour, it doesn't really smell of cherry or taste of cherry. It smells and tastes of almond, because a cherry bakewell is, for some reason, a standard cherry smell. Anyway, we didn't like that, and if it wasn't that, it was very plasticky. There was one that we had that smelled so much like dolls. You know, like the doll smell, that like sweet plastic. It was around the time of the Barbie movie, and I really wanted to release that as a Barbie candle. In hindsight, I was possibly losing it, but I really wanted to release that as a Barbie candle because it literally smelled like a Barbie doll. I'm not sure that's necessarily what people would have wanted in a Barbie candle, and I think Karen talked me down from that crazy idea. But when we finally found a good cherry scent, it was perfect for the Summer Wing collection, but now we kind of want to keep it around. But do we keep it as Cherry Falls? Because we've got Good Morning, which is the lemony scent, but what have we got in our core now? It has grown. So the core original three were the Lemon Blossom, Amber and Bergamot, which is Good Morning. There is Coffee Shop. There is, what was the third? Oh, Beach House. So there are three original core. Then we've got Cashmere, which was a Christmas scent. It was called Holiday House the first year. That was a Christmas scent that stayed. We've got Sweet Dreams, which is like a vanilla lavender. I think Croissant. That one is going to stay around. I think we've decided. Happy Birthday. That might be it for core. And so we don't have another kind of like sweet fruity. Like the lemon one is fresh, but this is like a really sweet, juicy, fruity kind of smell. So I think we might stick it around. Also, Elm Street. I talked to death about, but we definitely misnamed Elm Street. It's a lesson for me, because for the most part, when we're thinking about seasonal collections, I go in with names. I go in with like a theme, and then I want names to fit. And Elm Street is a perfect example. We had Elm Street on our list of names from year one, from our first, and we just never could quite find something that was what we wanted to go with for Elm Street. And so when we found that, it was kind of we were finding something to fit the name rather than the other way around. And if we had smelled that before we had the name, there's no way we would have called it Bonfire or Campfire or something like that. So I think next summer we will re-release Elm Street as something like that. Bonfire, Campfire, whatever. I've had so many people say it smells like a replica scent. I think it smells a lot like that. What's it called? Feu de bois. You know, like a smoky fireside smell, which is quite a luxurious note. It's not a cheap home fragrance smell at all. And especially at this time of year as well, I think it gives you that like warming, in the same way that people burn like tree farm and things that smell like actual cedar and stuff. You want like a real smell in your house to hide the fact that we've all got fake trees. This would give you that fireside smell. It's a very, very authentic smell, and we did a disservice. I'm in this mindset now because I'm restocking our core. I'm kind of looking past Christmas a little bit and thinking, what are we going to keep in January? What is going when it's gone? Of these things that I'm restocking now, that I'm labeling up now, some of these things are never coming back. Some of these things will come back next year. Some of these things are going to be discontinued, until whenever. And some of these things are going to be renamed. But what of these things might stick around just because people love them so much? Part of the reason that this, I feel, can't continue to be this is because it's got a red label, because all of our core scents have got a white label with black writing. It's very like cohesive across the brand. So the real question is, do we keep this as Cherry Falls, but the label then becomes, I just love this. Look, it goes with my nails. I love everything about this, but I don't want it to be the only one. So do we completely rebrand it and everything, or do we keep it Cherry Falls, but it is a white label with black? I can't, much as I love the red label, it can't be in our core collection looking like this. I really only have enough boxes to box up these ones. So I think I'm probably going to label everything and put them back in the boxes that I poured in, just so that they are like half the work is done then. And I just need to box them up. So something I talked about last week, I just posted like a random vlog of me, I guess, venting, ironically. And since then I've talked to a few people about it. And I think partially I was probably unfair, but also misunderstood. So I said that, there's just like a teeny bit of dust that settles as the candle is cooling. I said, what is this? Oh, Mystic Falls. I'm going to be upset when this one's gone, but this can't be permanent. This has to be autumnal. It has to be. Anyway, I said that I'd noticed an uptick in creators that I watch that are small business owners. And this isn't candle specific. I'm not thinking of any one particular person. It is across the board, different countries, all over the place. I follow quite a few different small business accounts that I like to watch. Like, I've just been labeling these things, and I like to watch stuff about social media. I like to watch things about like how to market yourself, grow your audience, that kind of thing. And then I'll watch fellow makers, while I'm making. It's just my background noise. I feel like I'm taking in some good advice by osmosis. I'm just absorbing like helpful tips and stuff. And also it feels like you've got someone chatting with you while I do really, really benefit from, there's a word for it, body doubling. So I have ADHD, and which I didn't know until I was well into my 30s. And I didn't realize that was a thing, but looking back, I'm like, yes, that's 100% a thing. So for example, what I'm doing right now with you is body doubling. I didn't want to do this today. I wanted to sit on the sofa and do my Canva stuff and schedule all of our social media things. That's what I had on my mind. That was what I was feeling like doing, but this needed to get done today. It always takes longer than I expect, and I was putting it off, but I really wanted to get it done. So what I decided to do was film a video, because if I'm chatting with you while I'm doing this, it seems to just go by quicker. Like, if ever I have to be on the phone, I will never sit down and take a phone call. If I have to be on the phone, then I am cleaning. And most cleaning I ever get done is when I'm on the phone, or I'm like washing up or doing something. I always have to be doing something while I'm talking. So this is body doubling. But yeah, that's kind of how I consume that kind of content. I don't tend to like sit and watch. I like it as like a bit of background noise. But because that's how I consume that content, I also like it to feel quite positive. And I like it to feel like, yeah, we can do it. Here are some ways that we can do it. That is my preference. Ooh, I've just noticed the coating on this label. Can you see there's like a patch? So it's like, it still looks pretty, but like, look, I think that needs to be replaced. You can see a definite, like, that's kind of matte, and then at the bottom it's glossy. I wonder how many of those I didn't notice because of the lighting. These ones, oh, see, these ones these are great. All glossy. And then these ones, something has definitely gone awry in the printing process, because all this side, fine. This is kind of matte, and in the middle, I don't know if it's going to pick up on camera, but there's like a streak where clearly the coating that was on top of the label has gone wrong. Hopefully this is like a random sheet, and I mean, it's not like immediately obvious, but you know, the whole thing of when I'm looking at these candles, over there to redo, when I'm looking at these candles before I box them up, I'm like looking for all the little details, so I'd be cross with myself if I missed that. But it does get a little bit manic when you're in the throes of labeling and boxing like 100 candles. Oh, absolute perfection. Anyway, so what I was saying, that is what I like to consume while I'm making, while I'm kind of doing this kind of thing. I like to listen to other people either giving me hints and tips and making me feel positive, or sharing their stories and their like weeks are like mine. And I've noticed a recent trend for the negative. And I think what I was saying in the video was not quite what I meant. I think it came across as, I mean, I was literally saying stop complaining while I was complaining about them. But I think it kind of came across more as a stop whining, which, I mean, I was saying that. But what I really meant was, I feel like that content is manufactured. I don't think those people are miserable. I don't think that those people hate what they're doing, because if they hated what they were doing, they would have options. They would have, like, I've never been happier that I kept a day job than when I get really mean comments and I think I don't want to do this anymore because I have a choice. Also, it wasn't clear. I was coming at this from a perspective of, so one person, which was a completely fair comment, said, I have Karen, like there's two of us in this business. I have Karen, we can vent to each other. But I was coming at this from a perspective of having been on YouTube by myself for 15 years. So I understand more than anyone that cycle that you can get in of something is annoying you, you vent in a vlog, you then post that vlog, you feel better. You're like, it's off your chest. You're like, great. Same as when you're just venting to anyone. You feel better, you feel lighter. You post that vlog, people see the vlog, they then comment about what you were venting about, and it brings you back into it. And then you start the next vlog and you're back down there. It's so hard to get yourself out of that cycle. If it is legitimate complaints and legitimate venting, I would advise against it. And that is from experience. I have done it. It's not a good place to be in. There's been whole phases of my YouTube life where I felt like I was kind of stuck in this negative space, and it took me so long to realize I was keeping myself in it. So that was what I was talking about, but more than that, I was kind of suggesting that I think this might be a bit of a clickbait situation. And I also don't necessarily blame them for this, because it is what it is right now. Like, I was watching someone that is in like the more beauty and lifestyle sphere that I've watched for a really long time, and she was saying that she has really tried to avoid the whole clickbait of it all, and she doesn't enjoy that as a viewer, and she's really tried to kind of get away from that and not succumb to using clickbaity titles. But there comes a point where that is all that you can, like, you're up against it with the YouTube algorithm, and if people are only really responding to, oh my god, what happened to that person kind of titles, you have to play the game. So I don't blame someone for doing that. I've done it myself. But what I was really trying to say was I had noticed a sudden trend to the negative clickbait in this particular community. And I'm not entirely sure why. I don't know if it is like, do people want to, because let's say that is what it, I mean, if a video is getting loads more views because you've said, oh my God, something's terrible, there are a few reasons for that. One of them is people want to see you fail. Another is people want to see like realistic accounts of something that you're trying to undertake yourself. So you might really appreciate that someone is saying, oh my God, this thing is so hard. And you're like, yes, I'm finding this so hard as well. I'll click on that video. But then there is the, oh, I knew that person was going to fail. I'll click on this video. And then the final one, this is one that I've noticed, I would say more so on Instagram, is it's a bit of a pity party, a bit of a, not, I want to say guilt trip, but a bit of a woe is me as a sales tactic. And I don't know who it is that is clicking on that. I don't know who we're trying to appeal to with that. Maybe like our absolute diehard fans. Like if I came on here crying, saying our business is collapsing, we would have a small number of supporters who would kind of step up and be like, right, I'm buying all my Christmas presents from these people. That feels shady to me. I mean, it is shady. But they're the things that I feel when I see a trend. Is it because the algorithm is screwing everyone over and everyone feels like they've got to stoop to this level? Is it a bit of a shady sales tactic? Like everything's so terrible by my staff, which I really dislike. Or is it the venting, which is completely fair? I mean, to be fair, who's to say all the rest of it's not fair at all? But is it the venting? And if it's the venting, from my perspective, stop. It doesn't help anybody. And I understand what the person was saying to me, that I have someone to vent to. The public, it's never a good idea. I still do it myself from time to time and I regret it every single time. It's not smart to put it out, unless it's live. That would be a little bit different, but it's not smart to put something out that you don't want to live through again. So if you're like, everything's so terrible, but this might be a personality thing as well, because I have recognized that I don't like to deal with things in the moment. So you have friends who will come to you in like something terrible's happened. That is not me. That is not me. Something's terrible happened. Let me just keep this to myself for a minute. Let me just work out how I feel. And when I feel better about it, then I will tell people the story of what happened. So maybe actually this is just a personality thing. And if you can talk through things in the moment with people and that helps you, I don't know. I just kind of have been thinking about it ever since I said that, because I was in that moment venting. That is what I was doing. And this is having the exact effect I'm talking about, in that I was like, why is everyone so negative? While being negative myself, I then received responses that made me feel like maybe I'm being too negative. And then I brought it into the next vlog. Do you see? Do you see what I mean? But if that is more of a, everything's so hard, my life is so difficult, I hate my business, if that really is how you're feeling, I just know from experience it's not smart to vent, because it's really hard to get yourself back out. So I suppose best case scenario, it's shady marketing or clickbait, because I really don't want people to be feeling that way. I don't want people to be feeling like I don't want to do this anymore and not be able to pull themselves out of that moment of negativity. Because this is great. Yeah, it's hard sometimes, but I love the community of people that I have collected to watch. And I love that we're all doing the same thing. And whether you're trying to do this full time or it's a side hustle or it's a hobby or whatever it is, there's a reason that we were all drawn to it, because it's a creative outlet. And if you can manage to sustain yourself, absolutely amazing. I don't feel like that's ever going to be on the cards for me. because I feel like once I make a creative pursuit my sole income, all of my love for the thing and all of my like enthusiasm for the thing will be completely eradicated. But if you can, that is absolutely amazing. And I don't want the hard times to take that away from you, you know? Anyway, that was a real ramble. But I'm all labelled. So thanks for that. There are a few things. Wait, what is this? Oh, this is croissant. Okay. Croissant, I don't know. So I've put the labels there so that I know that they don't have CLPs on the bottom because I ran out. Stupidly, I need to order some today. And for the rest of them, I'm going through and putting the box labels in, that's Elm Street, in the box. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that as and when I have the boxes, everything is just in here, ready to go. Cashmere. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And it's just as frictionless as possible. That is always what I'm aiming for. To make things as... Oh, I've already done that one. To make things as easy as possible. And I've already done that one. Book of Shadows. Mary, good morning. Good morning. I just boxed. Stars Hollow I just have 2 of, which are here. So let's put those in there. And actually, I will just box up the Christmas ones. I discovered, how stupid of me, that I had some of these... Actually, this is a perfect example. So some of these were different amounts. So this one says 220 grams. It's not 220 grams. The Christmas ones are 400 grams. These were from when we were selling them in Amazon and we were doing the smaller versions. Stupidly, I didn't realise I had those mixed in, and some of them have ended up at the shop. I don't feel like it matters quite so much with the ones we're selling online because this is just the outer packaging. It doesn't have to say anything on it, I don't think. But I need to, I thought I might just, rather than send whole new labels, because it's just 1 or 2 that are wrong, I might just send like a little printed off strip to cover that bit if any of them have managed to be mixed in, because I made so many and some of them have gone to online stock, some of them have gone to the shop, so I don't even know how many have been affected. So I thought I'll just make some little strips to cover that to avoid any confusion. But on the actual label itself for the product it does say 400 grams, so I don't think it matters. So here's the bag. I think I'm going to have to split this into 2 bags because it might break the bag if I lift it up because there's quite a lot in the bottom of there. Here is the bag of everything boxed up to go to Karen to then be split between online and shop stock. And here are the boxes of candles that still need to be boxed. Really, this is probably the way to do it because it's less overwhelming. I'm not boxing like 100 candles at once. I'm just doing like them in smaller sections. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me today and keeping me company, body doubling while I had all of these candles to label that I didn't want to label. And I suppose apologies for the rant in the middle. I don't know. I think sometimes things are hard to, I'm doing it right now. Some things are really, really difficult to put into words, to like get across exactly what you mean. And a lot of the time, it's easier to misunderstand than it is to decipher what someone's actually trying to say, especially when that someone seems to have trouble themselves. I know what I mean, but I am very much coming at it from my experience and my feelings, not theirs. So both as a viewer of like, I want to see more positive content, but also as a creator and knowing that cycle that I've been in, I watch it and I'm like, ugh. But that's my problem. That's my problem is basically what I'm saying. Right, anyway, thank you so much for watching. I will probably be back next week because it's about to be a real heavy season. So candles, candles, candles.